We're so happy that you're all joining us. We wanted to also make sure that we give you an inside view into what's happening behind the scenes at Typeform. And with me, I have Laura Rueda, who is going to introduce something new that we're rolling out to some of you today. And yeah, Laura, product manager, welcome.
Hey, Bakis. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me share. We can get started. There we go. Can you see my screen, Bakis?
Almost.
I think it's loading,
and we are live.
Great. Fantastic. So hello, everyone. It's pretty amazing to be the next one after such a great conversation. So it was a great talk. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So hello, everyone. My name is Laura, and I build products at Typeform. You can ask me about Loom and other masterpieces of fantasy storytelling. And today I'm here to share with you what we do at Typeform to create our products. And in particular, I want to walk you through one of our latest developments, a big initiative we've been working on for a number of months already. So the very first thing I want to cover today is that there are many ways to build products. At the end, there are many approaches into understanding what's needed. And of course, there are many different ways to solve certain problems. But what I want to do today is to share with you the way we do it at Typeform, which, to be honest, I think is the proper way to do things. And it all starts going back to the basics, going back to what we do at Typeform. Because what we do is we help our customers have meaningful conversations with their communities. So every product decision we take has to be aligned with this goal, what Typeform is trying to do. And it connects very well to the way I understand my job description. My job is to ask myself every day, what can Typeform do? What can we do to make your work, your job, easier every day? Every time you try to connect with your communities, every time you try to create a meaningful conversation, every time you establish a new connection with your audience, what can I do to make it easier? Under this perspective, there's no big secret, just a way of thinking that has 3 questions behind it. And those 3 questions are the questions I ask myself every day when I build products at Typeform to make sure that what we're building is great for you to achieve your own goals and to make sure that you can succeed when you use Typeform. The first one is, what's the problem we're trying to solve? What are the issues? What are the needs you have on your everyday conversations with your own customers, with your own clients? And how can we help solve those problems? The second one is, how do I know that whatever it is that I'm building is actually valuable for you as a creator of experiences, as a creator of meaningful conversations with your audiences? And the last one is, I have to make sure that I'm successful. And to do so, I have to evaluate very well what are the kind of things I'm building and what's the usage you're making of those tools, of those services that we're building, to make sure that you're actually succeeding on your goals. So one thing that is great about this presentation, and it's also why I'm super excited, is that we have a great example to show you how we do product at Typeform, to share what's our process. Because today we are presenting something new that a few of you may have seen, maybe others haven't yet. But if you have a look at this interface, you will see many things that are familiar, but a different way of doing things. So let me walk you through our process to bring us from the current Typeform to what you're seeing on screen right now. Going back to our questions, let's start with the very first one. What problem are we trying to solve here? Well, everything is easier when you have an amazing community, because it's very easy to go back to those who are using the tool to ask them exactly what are the needs, what are the gaps, what are the hopes you have from Typeform for the future. And that's something we do periodically. In particular, every quarter we send a survey to all our community asking, what are the kind of things you would like to see from Typeform? What are the kind of things that would make you successful? And going back to last year when we got started with this initiative, there were 3 things that repeated across all these feedback. The first one is that you wanted to have a faster creation. You want to be more efficient, which is something that is well understood because we're all under tight schedules. We want to generate the best results and we want to minimize efforts. The second thing that repeated across all this feedback was that you wanted to have easier logic, but not easier in the sense that it did less things. You wanted to create more powerful Typeforms in an easier way. And the last feedback was about tutorials and inspiration. Of course, there is the hard part of building forms and conversations, but there's also the inspirational part and the space to create something that is truly special between you and your audience. And this is kind of the 50% of the way we look into the future. The other 50% is what's happening around us, emerging market trends, new ways to differentiate what's going on in the world, right? And a few things that we noticed last year that have also repeated through 2020 is that making quizzes or creating more engaging experiences that are more fun, that are closer to a human conversation, have grown incredibly. So if we check for the pure make a quiz search on Google Trends, we can even see how it quadrupled when COVID lockdown started. We have more and more needs to have less serious, more fun somehow conversations with our audiences. And the other trend that we saw that was very important for everyone in this space was personalization. We know that it generates great results. Everyone loves to receive information, loves to have engaging experiences that are tied to what they want to see, what they want to hear, what they like. But we also know that it's one of the most difficult systems to master. It's not easy to personalize content across many tools, in many channels, and making sure that everything remains consistent. So with this understanding, we had kind of a fairly long list of requests. We wanted a system that is efficient, that is easy to use, that is inspirational, keeps you on brand, can be as intelligent as you need to make experiences personalized, conversational, that feel playful, but it's also something that you feel absolutely reliable, that is going to be with you and work fine under any channel and in any circumstance. So we went back together as a team and we asked ourselves, how do we build something that is more powerful, but at the same time faster and easier to use? And that's quite a task because both things seem to go in different directions. The more you want to do, probably the more difficult to use as a system. And probably the more you want to use, it also would take you more time to build it. So it was quite a task for us. So the first step was really to go back to the drawing table, to start from scratch, to understand exactly what's every need, what's every approach from everyone using Typeform. We questioned everything we knew. And as you can see here in these few screenshots, we got started with things that looked completely different to what the current Typeform is. We were exploring new ways to create, new ways to engage. And probably it took us a while, but soon we learned that we were trying to do too many things at the same time. We were trying to achieve too many goals at once. And one thing that we know, and it's something that we've applied to Typeform in the past with great success, is that it's better to tackle one problem at a time, to be incremental, and to share with our community of creators what we're doing early enough so we can build it together. So we stopped and we said, okay, let's go back to what we know best, our iterative process. For everything that we want to do within this big initiative, we have to put something together, assume that it's totally wrong, and then let creators help us fix it, make it right for everything they need. So one thing at a time, we can build a new platform that fits what everyone's expecting. So with this perspective, we go to a second question, which is, how do we know that something is valuable for our creators? Each one of those individual pieces, how do we make sure that whatever we're building is actually something you need, you're looking for, or maybe you're not looking for it, but when you find it, you know this is right. I don't know if you know, but it's possible to sign up as a beta tester for Typeform. We get more than 200 creators signing up every month. And with them, we've built this initiative from scratch. In the beginning, it was big changes and lots of new interfaces. The last steps were smaller changes and tweaks here and there. But all of those steps have been incredibly important to bring us from where we were in 2019 to where we are here in 2020. And what we did with this group of testers was to choose where to start. As I said, we wanted to start with one thing, make sure it was perfect, and then start including more things. And based on what was going on around us, understanding the market, we chose quizzes to be the first thing we wanted to build and deliver. Why did we do that? We chose quizzes because we knew that was something very valuable. That was also very difficult to build with Typeform. The logic was difficult, it was really time consuming, and there were certain things that were impossible to create. So we said, if we have to start somewhere, let's start in a place where we can deliver something that is of value from day one, and from there, we can make it perfect. So here on the right, you can approach it. We created a simple interface that helped you create what are the outcomes of the quiz, and then map which questions will lead to each one of these outcomes. And when we got that one, we went to score quizzes. And when we got score quizzes, we went to more advanced logic. So how was the whole process? We fixed the basics, we listened, and we improved as we went through. So it wasn't only a matter of logic and being able to create, for example, your quizzes. We learned that you wanted to have all the split results to see who ended up in which category. We got to know that it was really important to make these quizzes viral, so people could share their results on social networks and gather more traffic for you. We learned that it was very important to have proper integration so you could extract all these into Google Sheets or MailChimp or HubSpot or whichever platform you are using. And we also learned many more things about the way you would use quizzes that we couldn't necessarily anticipate. We learned that you wanted to build product recommendations instead of just like engaging quizzes. You wanted to categorize your respondents. You wanted to assign score to those leads that you got through these quizzes. So step by step, we completed something that was very small and very simple into a full solution to create quizzes, engage with the audience, and do all the other things that you have in here. But things have steps. And of course, the first steps, we talked directly with a relatively small number of creators who could really sit with us for 1 hour in an interview and share all their goals and expectations. But at some point, we have to grow bigger. So when we had our first solution for quizzes, we created a beta phase. And we actually ran in total 2 beta phases with this quizzes initiative. So more than 3,000 creators got access, started creating their quizzes, and shared their experience with us. And that's actually something you're going to see again when you have the chance to get started with this new interface. looking for feedback is our number one step to make sure that what we're providing is valuable. But then, even if someone says, oh, I like this feature, it looks great, it seems very easy to use, we still have to validate what success means for Typeform. And to be honest, I could be talking about metrics and many other things in this session. But to me, the most important part is to remind everyone that you can only say you're successful if you're making others successful with your work. So let me share with you, for example, what happened with the very first group of beta testers of our quiz system. On the right, you can see a list on the number of responses the first quizzes that were created under our new interface got. It was an absolute blast having worked on that for many months to see that people were able to create what they wanted to create and couldn't do before, and that the results were as amazing as one could hope for. But it's not only that. The second thing you're looking for when you try to validate success in an initiative is when you get more and more feature requests. So if something is good and you still have people saying, I want more, I want to be able to build more things, I want more functionality, I got this use case, is there any way you can extend what you have to support what I have? You know you're creating something that is really valuable and that can grow a lot to support many, many creators. So with the feedback we got about quizzes, we started expanding our new solution. We integrated logic and calculations to make them much more powerful. We got the understanding that it would be incredibly useful to have the capacity to create multiple variables, to have advanced calculation, to do things like order forms much better, to have the option to have much more advanced logic. We also got requests about UTM tracking and making sure that the performance of different channels where you shared your forms could be measured. And step by step, we kept on adding functionality to our new interface. And let me share with you, for example, a very visual example of these kind of requests. We've got many creators saying, I want to have the capacity to personalize Typeform better. I want to have more visual experiences for my clients. So based on this feedback, we started playing with more layouts for you to make Typeforms look amazing. We added more options to have media on your under your conversations to make them more engaging. But we also wanted to provide every tool to make you successful within Typeform without having the need to go to other places. So we integrated an image editor. We created your own gallery of assets that you could use across multiple Typeforms. So what you see on screen, for example, is a form that has a layout that didn't exist in the past, and it's using an image that we got from the library from Unsplash that we could cut ourselves to size and set it up directly from Typeform. So these are all the kind of things that make the platform and the system easier to use, but also much more powerful in terms of the kind of experiences you can build with it. And the very last step of the process is to stress test your solution. If you are building something and it works nice at a small scale, that's great. But we know that we have creators building amazing new experiences and making things that no one ever thought it would be possible. And that's why we wanted to work directly with someone who was planning to push Typeform to the maximum capacity. And in the last few months, we've been collaborating with Rick, who speaks in a second just after this talk, on his attributes assessment test. He will be providing, of course, all the details, but what we built with him is something that looks like a collection of forms with more than 90 questions per form, and each one of them generates more than 200 different outcomes. So based on an assessment of your personal attributes, there are 200 different outcomes and suggestions on how to improve different personal attributes that can bring you to the next level in your career. And to be able to create those outcomes, we have been setting more than 1,500 logic conditions for each one of those forms and experiences. So basically what we did is we created an extremely powerful, extremely intricate system to assess your personal attributes. That is definitely something that was impossible in the past and makes us sure that what we're building scales to any limit you may have. So yeah, with more than 100 Typeform learners involved, more than 3,000 creators testing and providing feedback, and roughly around 30,000 hours of work, one more, one less, all of them organized in Jira, which is what we use to organize our tasks, and probably through an immense amount of Slack messages that I really cannot count. Today is the day. Today is the day we start rolling out a new way to create Typeforms. And this is going to be, again, an incremental rollout. So I'm incredibly excited, and I'm really hoping, as I cannot see it now, that the chat is full of comments asking for access already. We're going to start with a small percentage of all our creators, and incrementally until the end of the year, we will be opening this to everyone. It's pretty important to remind ourselves that even if we think we got to the finish line, we still have a lot to learn. We still want you to try it out, so send us your feedback, to send us your requests, and to help us continue evolving it, because there's never a perfect solution. There's never a perfect product. There's always more to do for you. There's always more ways to help you. And well, at the end, as I was saying in the very beginning, my day-to-day is to ask myself, what can we do to make your work easier? So that's what we've been trying to do with this new way to create Typeforms, and that's what we're going to continue doing with your feedback in the following months and years to come. So yeah, thank you very much. I really hope this gives you a bit of an overview to how we approach the creation of products at Typeform, how we love to collaborate with you. And I'm also hoping it encourages you to join our testers community, to share your feedback with us, and to help us build something that is truly useful.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
This was great. I have played around with the new builder. I am really excited, and especially excited to get all of you to try it out. A few questions are coming up on the Q&A. It sounds like there's a lot of people who are excited to try out this product. One question from Marina Anton. She asks, is it possible to have custom variables in order to only have price and score?
It is. So you can create as numeric variables as you want to have advanced calculations. So for example, you can create variables for your shipping costs and your taxes, and the final price based on those.
Cool. There's another question from Nadia Elmrabet. I hope I did not butcher that name. How do you balance existing client testers and non-clients, especially when you're testing new products to reach other audiences?
An absolutely amazing question. And it's also great from the kind of like the pure development of Typeform as a company. We want to build for our current audience. We want to make sure that you stay with us, but we also want to build new things that are potentially appealing to customers, right? So what we do here is that we balance our tests. our community is here with us. We can open to present errors, and that's relatively easy. What we do with those who are in the area but are not yet Typeform customers is we work in collaboration with your marketing team, and we also work in collaboration with our UX research panels of customers or potential Typeform customers outside that can give us their feedback. First of all, on their expectations on the type of tools in the Typeform space, but also when we have a solution for them to test it out and tell us something you would consider buying if you had a chance or the need. And with that, we can make sure that we build something that is valuable for our current users, but also for those who can become our customers.
Thanks for that. Usually when we build something, you run into some unexpected things that came straight out of left field that you would have never imagined. Going through the build process for something where you are enabling others, do you have one thing that stood out more than others that really surprised you?
Yeah, I guess if I have to choose one of those things that comes up as not necessarily a surprise, but one of those things that makes you think, wow, everyone who's using Typeform is really engaged, is when we started building all the new features, we added them, first of all, to the creation experience. But we also have people working very hard with results. We have people with extremely tailored integrations with their own systems. And the very first piece of feedback that we got from these people was, okay, and then how does this connect to everything else, right? So it's the kind of thing that I really want to highlight when I talk about any of these like new developments and improvements, that whatever you're building, you have to build end to end. So whoever adopts it can really reach the final stage without much of a hassle. Because otherwise you're not solving the problem, and we're in the business of solving problems. Yeah.
Definitely, and I can tell firsthand how fast the new builder is. It's much easier to create things like advanced logic, and you have way more flexibility. So thanks for putting time in. We are only rolling this out to about like a limited amount of users at this point, but what are some of the things that you would recommend other product managers to do as they think about rolling out new products? Do you have any good advice or anything that you are still trying to learn and have not yet perfected?
Yes, absolutely. I would probably choose transparency and collaboration across the whole service. So you're building one product, but at the end, Typeform, as many other companies, is providing a service. So it's not only the tool itself, it's everything around it. And one good example of this is the customer success team. So we have a great team of support agents who have to be the absolute experts in the to be able to help others, because I would be putting my best, easy to use, but there will be questions. So you as a product manager, you're also the owner of the whole service. So you have to make sure that you work in direct collaboration with the rest of the organization. So not only the tool itself is great, we're all ready to help our customers be successful with, for example, any question they may have. So that would be my suggestion to any product manager, not only as a tool.
Pretty cool. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for giving us all a little look into how product is operating at Typeform. We will be hearing much more from other product managers. Ridge Tiffany, we had to reschedule or schedule for a slightly later slot, so it will not be immediately after, but if you stick around, you can look at how all of the work that went into his Typeform and why he needed so many different options. It's going to be really interesting. He's an ex-Navy SEAL and has some learnings that he wants to share. Next up, we will be ending this, but next up will be Tice Warden, who is one of our group product managers, who's going to teach us all a couple of tricks. So Laura, thank you so much for joining. And to everyone else, please stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.